so here's the deal. Eric's dad has a IRA, converted some of it, I guess, from traditional to a Roth, was taking RMDs on those. The Secure Act changed the rule, Secure Act 1 and 2, changed the rule to it used to be you have to take everything out in 5 years, right? If you didn't do a stretch out. And then what Secure Act 2 said was, Secure Act 1 and 2 said was, okay, no more of these lifetime stretch outs. You got to take everything out in 10 years. The problem was that it wasn't clear whether or not you had to take RMDs, required minimum distributions. Once you get to a certain age, and now it's 73, you have to take required minimum distributions on an annual basis. If you don't take them, there's a 50% tax on any amount that you didn't take. But in any event, the whole thing's got to be gone in 10 years. Now, nobody thought from reading the legislation that you would have to take out these required minimum distributions on the inherited IRAs. And whether or not, my understanding is, and Eric has heard from somebody that if the person was taking RMDs, the required minimum distributions need to go on. I don't believe that's the case. You start over again with the person who inherited the IRA. That's my understanding of the thing. Could I be wrong? Oh, I never am. But yeah, that's something worth looking into. So the question now is, do you have to take RMDs based on your own life expectancy over the 10-year period? And the problem is that when the IRS said, yes, you do, everyone was shocked by that. And so far, they've kept putting it off. Since we had the Secure Act, now it's 2-3 years now, and they've said, the IRS has come out and said, well, we don't really care if you take the RMDs or not, because we're going to put that off till next year. All right. So under Secure Act 1 and 2, you don't actually have to take the RMDs. But what Eric understands is that there's a ruling out there that says that if the person who set up the IRA in the first place was taking RMDs, then you have to continue. That's not my understanding of it. I haven't seen it work like that. Eric, do you have a site to that? You mean, but it's you're saying you have to take the RMDs, but it would be based on your life expectancy, not on your dad's. Yeah. There's no question that the regulations say that. Okay, everybody agrees that the regulations say that you have to take the RMDs, but they've put off enforcing that because all the tax practitioners are saying no, that's not in the legislation. So, and you're right. There's a split on whether you have to do it for the Roth, but I haven't heard yet that they're going to actually require it. They've just been putting it off year to year, whether or not you have to take it at all, right? I mean, so good question. I mean, yeah, well, it's not. I'm not being much help, but I tell you what, I will look into it. We'll get back to you on that. Okay, probably next week. Oh, hey, you're more than welcome. Yeah, that's a screwy kind of thing, just to say. We've got the law says one thing, and what does it mean exactly, right? When the law says, and the Secure Act says, you have to take, excuse me, the law does not say that you have to take RMDs, and now you've got the IRS saying, oh, yes, you do. Like that came as a surprise to everybody, that you actually had to do that. And they didn't, it's not like they clarified things. It's not like they said, oh, yeah, it was difficult to understand what the hell we were talking about before. Here, we'll clean it up for you. they didn't do that. They just said, nah, we're not going to enforce it just yet. I don't know. Maybe they were hoping for, clarifying legislation or something. I don't know. But it is, Eric has put his finger on something that's really important because, like I say, if you don't take an RMD, required minimum distribution, from your IRA when you're supposed to, it's a 50% tax on the part that you didn't take. And of course, for most people, when they're taking out the RMDs, the income tax is much less, and that's still all taxable. So yeah, it's really a bad deal if you don't know, if they haven't decided exactly what's going on. The last time I looked at it, though, which has been a couple of months anyway. Last time I looked at it, they had pushed it off again. But here we are in the new year, and no doubt we'll get some new information on it. You used to think the law was, you could pretty much understand it. And when I got my Master of Laws in Taxation, we had one volume of code, one volume of the statutes that Congress had passed, and two volumes of regulations that the IRS had put out. Well, nowadays, of course, I forget how many. You've got multiple times the law and the regulations, plus all the reporting services, all the rest of it. It does get to be really quite confusing, but we'll look into that for Eric and see if we can't get a definitive answer.